ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शांति शांति शांति. Namaskar my dear friends, this is video number 6 on Katha Upanishad. This video starts with verse number 22 of chapter 2. So this verse says, the wise man, having realized Atma as dwelling within impermanent bodies, but itself bodiless, vast, and all-pervading, does not grieve. Having realized, etc. That is to say, having realized Atma as one with the Supreme Self or Brahma, the infinite Atma dwells in all bodies, great and small, high and low. The difference observed between one creature and another is the result of the difference in the degree of its manifestation. Naturally, there is a great manifestation of Atma in a body and mind made pure through spiritual discipline than in those that are gross because of attachment to the world. The fullest manifestation of Atma in a body and mind rendered absolutely pure by means of meditation and self-control is the goal of the spiritual life. Though difficult to comprehend, Atma can be realized by proper means. Verse number 23. This Atma cannot be attained by the study of the Vedas or by intelligence or by much hearing of sacred books. It is attained by him alone whom it chooses. To such a one, Atma reveals its own form. Intelligence, the mental power by which a man understands and remains the import of the books he has studied. It chooses. According to dualistic interpreters, the words mean whom the Supreme Lord chooses. Obviously, this emphasizes the divine grace, but according to the non-dualist Sankara, it is the self, that is to say, the lower phenomenal self, that seeks and worships the Supreme Self or Brahman. There is, however, no real contradiction between the two interpretations. Both self-effort and divine grace are necessary for the realization of Atma. Through self-effort, the seeker removes obstacles and prepares the ground. Next, there is the spontaneous revelation of Atma. Self-effort is compared to the wind that removes the cloud. When the cloud is removed, the resplendent sun of itself reveals its own glory. The Upanishad here makes a very bold statement. An aspirant cannot realize the self by mere study of the scriptures. The grace of the Supreme Lord, who dwells in the heart as the self or Atma, is necessary. It is this Lord alone whom he seeks to realize as one with himself through study, discrimination, and meditation. Being gratified with his devotion, The Lord manifests to the seeker his spirit form. In other words, Atma, which is the seeker's own self, reveals its real nature to him, being pleased with his earnestness and devotion. As long as a man remains egotistic and desires to know Atma through such external means as scriptural knowledge or erudition, he fails in his quest. When all external disciplines are proved inadequate, the earnest seeker then realizes the futility of ego and develops self-surrender, which makes possible the descent of the divine grace, resulting in his realization of the truth. But self-effort is not useless. Without it, the seeker would not recognize the truth when it revealed itself to him. Obstacles to self-realization. Verse number 24. He who has not first turned away from wickedness, who is not tranquil and subdued, and whose mind is not at peace, cannot attain Atma. It is realized only through the knowledge of reality. Subdued, one develops the power of concentration by subduing the senses. Not at peace, a man may be capable of concentration yet distracted by desire for the fruit of his spiritual discipline. At the final stage, the seeker renounces all desires for fruit, including the desire for knowledge and liberation. He remains absorbed in communion with Atma. All desires, however lofty or spiritual, disturb the serenity of the mind. The meaning is that he alone who has refrained from evil conduct and has controlled the desires of the senses, who has gathered his mind from the outside world and does not disturb it any longer by seeking even the fruit of his meditation, attains self-knowledge with the help of a qualified teacher. How can one devoid of spiritual discipline ever expect to know the true glories of Atma? Verse number 25. Who then knows where he is, he to whom Brahmins and Kshatriyas are mere food and death itself a condiment. Who then, etc. An ordinary man cannot with his worldly mind know the true nature of Atma. Brahmins and Kshatriyas, they constitute the two upper caste of Indo-Aryan society. The Brahmin is the teacher of the spiritual culture and the Kshatriya or military man its protector. Death, the all-destroyer. Such is the glory of Atma that the all-powerful Brahmins and Kshatriyas and death itself are only its articles of food. In Atma, everything disappears. By it, even death is swallowed up. Here ends chapter 2 of part 1 of Katha Upanishad. Chapter 3 of part 1 of Katha Upanishad. 2. There are who dwell within the body, in the buddhi, the supreme akasa of the heart, enjoying the sure rewards of their own actions. The lords of Brahma describe them as light and shade, as do those householders who have offered oblations in the fires, and also those who have thrice performed the Nachiketa sacrifice. 2. The Jivatma or individual soul and the Paramatma or Supreme Self dwell within, etc. Vedantic mystics make the Buddhi or intellect associated with the heart the dwelling place of both the individual soul and the Supreme Self. Inside the heart, there is a space described by them as the Brahmapuram, the abode of Brahma. One of the methods of meditation is to contemplate Brahma in the heart. During the first stage, the aspirant contemplates Brahma as the luminous space inside the heart, which is shaped like a lotus bud. Next, he contemplates Brahma as reflected in the buddhi or intellect. At last, he realizes his own innermost consciousness as one with cosmic consciousness. Supreme Akasha. Vedantic mystics speak of the Akasha inside the heart as a luminous space infinitely more pure than the outer Akasha. Enjoying, though both the individual soul and the Supreme Self are described in the text as enjoying the fruits of action. In reality, it is the individual soul that does so. Unillumined people, however, think that the Supreme Self enjoys the fruits. The two live as inseparable companions. The statement in the text should be taken in a figurative sense. The Supreme Self is the detached witness of the activities of the individual soul. Sure rewards. An action is inevitably followed by its fruit. Light and shade. The two souls are endowed with totally different attributes. The one is entangled in the world and the other is free. Five fires. Every householder belonging to the three upper castes was required in Vedic times to offer daily oblations in the five kinds of sacrificial fire, or the words may refer to the five fires described in the Chandogya Upanishad. In the previous section, knowledge and ignorance have been described in a general way as leading to contrary results. In this section, each of them will be specifically described together with its results. The knowledge of both Saguna Brahma and the Supreme Brahma should be cultivated. Part 2 of Chapter 2. We know how to perform the Nachiketa sacrifice, which is the bridge for sacrificers, and we know also that supreme imperishable Brahma, which is sought by those who wish to cross over to the shore where there is no fear. Bridge. The performer of the Naciketas sacrifice as a reward transcends the suffering of mortal life on earth and enjoys intense happiness in Brahmaloka. No fear. Brahma is non-dual and therefore free from fear. Wherever there is duality, there is fear. There are two aspects of Brahma, Nirguna or the attributeless absolute, and Saguna or Brahma endowed with attributes. The latter is also called Karya Brahma or Brahma manifested as the universe. Though it is unreal from the point of view of the attributeless absolute, yet it is real for those who are subjected to Maya. Saguna Brahma is immanent in the universe and at the same time is its epitome. Those who worship Saguna Brahma go after death to Brahmaloka and become omniscient, like Saguna Brahma. The Upanishads admit the empirical reality of the universe and exhort man to cultivate knowledge of it through the realization of Saguna Brahma. The Mundaka Upanishad teaches that both the lower knowledge, that is the knowledge of the manifested Brahma, and the higher knowledge, that is the knowledge of the attributeless absolute, should be cultivated. Both are necessary for the understanding of the all-inclusive truth. On the foundation of a true knowledge of the universe, an enduring superstructure of spirituality can be erected. The embodied soul, identified with the world through ignorance, can either perform action for the fulfillment of desires or cultivate knowledge for the attainment of freedom. If it follows the first course, it travels up and down in samsara, the ever-changing universe of names and forms characterized by the pairs of opposites. But if it cultivates knowledge, it becomes free. Both these courses are described by the illustration of a chariot. Section 3. Know the Atma to be the master of the chariot, the body, the chariot, the buddhi, the charioteer, and the mind, the range. The Atma. Here the word does not mean pure consciousness, which is not related to the body or any material object. It signifies the jiva or living being which, though identical with pure consciousness, appears through Maya as the embodied soul, subject to birth and death, hunger and thirst and the rest. Unlike pure consciousness, the jiva is the experiencer of the results of action, the body, etc. The body is compared to a chariot because it is moved here and there by the sense organs, which are compared to horses. The buddhi, etc. The word buddhi denotes the discriminative faculty. The Hindu psychologists divided the sense organs into two groups, the outer and the inner. The former consist of the organs of action and the organs of perception. The organs of action are the hands, the feet, the tongue, and the organs of procreation and evacuation. The organs of perception are the eyes, the ears, the nose, the skin and the tongue. The inner organ is known by four names according to its different functions. The manas or mind, characterized by doubt and volition. The buddhi or intellect, endowed with the power of discrimination and determination. The chitta or mind stuff, which is the storehouse of past impressions, and the ahem or ego, characterized by I consciousness. A man is mainly dependent for his action upon the buddhi, which determines what he should be doing and what he should refrain from. The mind, etc. Through the mind, the buddhi directs the senses to their respective objects as the charioteer guides the horses along the right path by means of reins. So I conclude this video here. Next video will start with section 4. Namaskar my dear friend. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Thanks a lot. Namaskar my dear friend.